Welcome to episode number 10 of the Eavesdrop podcast. Today we have a very, very special friend of mine and also someone who I admire. I know don't blush, okay? Nothing makes me blush nowadays, right?
I guess.
So my brother from another mother, Rob Terkla, one of the founders of UMG Googan, right?
Yeah, Googan
Squad?
Yeah, Googan Squad.
Googan Squad and UMG. We'll talk a little bit about his entering into esports, his sort of departure from esports, and then what he's doing now. But first and foremost, I would like to thank our sponsor for the podcast. First sponsor ever, marketed in the history books. The first person, the first company that came in to sponsor the podcast is none other than Skillshare, which is an online learning community with more than 20,000 classes in design, photos, documentary, video, like you name it, they can teach it for you. Okay. The premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities to do the work that you love, essentially. It's pretty much just a whole bunch of creators that come into one place and teach you how to do everything that you're passionate about. Since Skillshare is sponsoring this video, the first 500 people who subscribe and sign up for this, okay, and the link is going to be in the description, you're going to get the first 2 months free. Okay. I personally used it once. And I used it for iPhone photography. Okay, it gives you like good places to look for presets. Good look. I mean, if you look at my photos on my Instagram, you know that it's super fire, and that is why it is that you should give it a shot. Anyway, again, the first 500 people to sign up for this will receive 2-month free trial. If you go to skl.sh/eavesdrop to start your trial now. Having said that, and with that said, Rob, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I know you have a busy schedule.
I'm here for you.
You brought me some elk.
I did, yes. It's elk from Arizona.
Elk that you hunted yourself from Arizona. Oh, yeah. And you have your whole gear. You're wearing the Old Man of Optic before me. I'm mad. It's got reflective 3M reflective.
That's what it said. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And then that's your hat and your logo.
Yeah. This is mine. Yeah.
We can't see the glasses are in the way, man.
Oh.
There you go. And if you guys can't see the logo, it's a sniper rifle and a fishhook.
Yeah.
Is that your main? Is that?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a rifle, a hook, and a reticle around it.
And the reticle, right? That's pretty dope, man. Is that your? That's your.
That's me. Yeah.
That's your logo.
That's my logo.
Okay, very, very cool. Anyway, Rob, thank you again for stopping by. Let's get the podcast started, man. I'm very excited about this. I just talked about you 2 days ago on the vlog.
It was 2 days ago. I know. I saw it.
Yeah, it was 2 days ago. And I was telling them how interesting your life was to me because you've almost done it all. Okay, not yet. No, I know, not yet, and I know you're not satisfied yet. But it is one of those certain individuals like you specifically have this sort of trajectory in life that is almost like my ADD, right? I can't just sit down and do one thing and one thing only. I like to do this while at the same time doing that. And that's in my opinion how you came to be. So let's get started. Who are you today?
Well, I'm a father, YouTuber, and I like business. That's pretty much like my 3 main things. Of course, being a father and husband comes first, but then it goes like YouTube and business. I for some reason love business just because I don't know. I like building something. It's not all money oriented. I like taking something and seeing how big you can make it and how fast you can do it. I don't know. It's always been real interesting. UMG is probably one of my best success stories when it comes to business because it's so random. Yeah, like super random.
Well, let's get into that. Who were you when you got into esports and how did you come across it?
Man, I was playing MLG, like game battles. Playing game battles. That's all I did.
What game?
Call of Duty Black Ops 2 really spurred, that's what I really loved. It was called Black Ops 2. And I just came back from Afghanistan. I tried out for Special Forces, got selected, and then I got hurt. So I had nothing really else to do. So I played Call of Duty like a lot.
When you say you got selected by the Special Forces, what do you mean?
You go to I think it's like 3 weeks long selection process. And week 1 and week 2, they dwindle down. We started 400 people. And at the end, you get I think it was 80 people got selected. Yeah. Then you go from there. Then you go a year and a half worth of training. But between all that, you still have to do a bunch of intermediate training, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I just fractured. I think it was 3 vertebrae and ruptured 2 discs or something like that. And
From what?
I think the entire time you always have to wear 75 pounds plus water on your back during everything. And the last...
How old were you when you
23, 24.
So fresh out of well, you went to high school, and then did you go to college, or you
no,
just
not in college. I went for like a month or two, but it was like I don't know. I think it was 23 or 24, probably somewhere around there when I got hurt. But anyway, I got an MRI. They told me I'm done, and that was pretty much that. So I knew I was on my way out.
Yeah,
I knew I was done.
Yeah,
and I was like, in my mind, I was like, motherfucker, this is like. I was about to be the pinnacle, like the peak you can be in the Army. There's like maybe one more ahead, which is like CAG or something like that, above Special Forces.
What does CAG stand for?
I don't exactly know. They're like direct operator dudes that do like really, really badass shit.
Yeah.
Like stuff that I don't even know what they do.
Is that why you wanted to do it?
I wanted, because it's like when I joined, I joined as an infantry guy because I wanted to kick doors in Iraq. I joined like during the invasion or the surge. And after that, I was like, okay, cool. Infantry guy's cool. Now I want to be a sniper. So I tried to be a sniper.
Yeah.
And then I got selected for that. And then I went to Afghanistan, work with SEALs and Special Forces guy the entire time attached to them. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I want to do what they're doing. So I came back and I was like, I tried out and got selected. Now I'm like, fuck yeah, now we're about to get it.
Yeah.
And then during that entire time, training up to...
So give me some years, like what this came out.
2010, Iraq, 2012 was all Afghanistan. I came back 2013. I tried out for Special Forces. I got hurt, and then I got medically discharged in 2014. So I was like 23, 24.
23, 24.
Somewhere around there.
Now, is it, when you go through these training processes to get selected, where you say that you're carrying the 75 pounds plus water, is it as excruciating as it looks in all of the movies?
It's fucking terrible.
Is it?
Oh, it's fucking
Is it
horrible.
the worst thing you've ever gone through?
Pain-wise, yes, because it's a mental fuck. Because the entire time you don't get no sleep. You get like 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night, and they just... fuck you up the entire time.
Give me a 24-hour period and what it looks like.
I went out from like the land nav portion. They literally drop you off at like 11 p.m. They don't give you a map or nothing. They drop you off at a spot after you've been doing all this bullshit all day. They drop you off and they wake you up at 1 and they hand you a map. They give you your grid coordinate and then they give you the grid coordinate to the area you need to go to next. I'm talking, it's 1 a.m, so you can't use light at all. You cannot use fucking light to look up and look around. So then you have to plot a grid to your next location. And my first location, I think, was like 16 clicks, which was, I think it's like 5 or 6 miles. And I had to walk that, or 4 miles, somewhere around there. And I had to walk that at night.
Yeah.
Counting my paces in my head. Yes, counting my paces in my head.
Like by yourself with 75 pounds plus water.
Yes, you're walking through. They put trackers on you so if you get hurt, they can come find you. But it's like you have to get to your point, which took me, I think I got there like 6:30 or 7 in the morning. Because when you're walking at night, you're trying to like find your footing, but you're also having to keep pace of how many steps you've taken to how far you've gone. Because you're having to really, you can't look up and look. It's a pain in the dick. But
yeah. So let me, because I hate the dark now. Not only do I hate the dark, but to be left, what sort of terrain were you in? Is it just desert? Is it wooded?
North Carolina mountains. So you got like hills and then trees. I mean, it's kind of a mental fuck for about first hour because you can't, like, your eyes trying to adjust.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you go out and look and everything's kind of like grainy and pixelated.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, as you get throughout the night, you're just kind of like, okay, now I can start seeing outlines of trees and shit.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Did you bump into anything? Did you hear anything? Because there's got to be mountain lions and raccoons and shit.
Oh yeah, deer, dude. I got tangled in the. Because like it's crazy when you're walking at night, you can't see creeks. You know it's coming up at some point.
Because you can hear it.
You can hear it, but the thing is the air temperature starts just dropping significantly down by where water is. And I just remember walking, it's like, man, it's getting colder. It's getting colder. And all of a sudden, I just ate shit right into some fucking vines. I'm knee deep in fucking water. I'm soaking wet. Fuck, I'm just like, son of a bitch. It's pitch black. You can't use a light to look at yourself.
Yeah. So they don't give you. So how do you just have to wait until your eyes adjust so you can look at your map, so where the first grid is, and how you're going to get to the next portion?
Essentially, because they give you a grid coordinate to like your first location, and to get your next one, they give it to you there. Like they're like, all right, so here's your 10-digit grid or whatever, and you have to write it down, plot it out, and then figure out where what's your best avenue to get there. You have like,
how do you figure out direction?
You have a compass.
Oh,
no, you have a compass, but it's kind of like you have to have. I think during land nav it's like four spots you need to get. You need to get 3 or 4 basically in that day. Mm-hmm. And the first day I got 4. So I knew going into the next day, you have 2 days in line F. I just needed to get 3, and that's pretty much what I did. I got 7 of the 8 I needed to get, I think.
7 of the 8. So you got selected.
Yeah.
You go into infantry, you said, and then you tried out for snipers. You did that, and then you went back because you wanted to knock down doors.
Yeah, I went infantry, Iraq, and then I came back from Iraq and I was like, this is boring as shit. Tried out for sniper section, got selected, and then went to Afghanistan. I actually re-upped to go to Afghanistan. I was actually getting out of the Army. Re-up, and then came back, tried out for SF, got hurt, and then UG.
SF being Special Forces.
Yeah.
How do you get selected for snipers? Like, what sort of testing do you have to go through? What sort of qualifications do you need to do that besides aiming straight?
Everything's like physical, like in the Army. Like, because everybody can pretty much shoot, in a sense. It's really not that difficult to shoot, but not everybody's capable of, they uphold standards like you have to be able to run 5 miles in 35 minutes. That's like a huge thing up there. So
with all your gear?
No, just running like in general. So you were to go on a run and you're like, you know what, the standard is, like the Army standard is like 2 miles and say like, I think we had to do it in like 14 minutes, which is pretty slow back then. And so they're like, well, no, our standard, we're going to uphold higher than the Army regular standard because they can, because there are only 9 people of like 1,200. That's all the snipers are in their battalion. It's only 9. And that's pretty much it. It's a lot of physical. Everything in the infantry world is all physical and mental.
Yeah.
It's 100% all it is. Because anybody can shoot, anybody can communicate and move. But then it just comes down, how much of a bitch are you? Can you mentally take what they're about to do? It's all, they play fuck game is what they call it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Endless fuck games. They want to make sure that you're not going to bitch out on them. It's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, you can't, right?
Yeah,
it's life and death situation.
Yeah.
And it's not just your life. It's like everybody's life. Yeah.
You fuck up, you can kill everybody.
Yeah.
Get everybody killed.
Yeah. That's crazy. So you did a total of 3 tours?
I did 2 tours, and I did just a shitload of training beforehand. But it was all 2. I did Iraq and Afghanistan. That was it.
Cool. In your book, you mentioned that Afghanistan is one of the most beautiful countrysides you've ever seen. Is it?
Yeah, it is. Like you'd be there. When I was up in the Hindu Kush, it'd be like, I don't know how tall that sumbitch is. Tall enough to where you lose your breath when you get up there. But it's
you're way up
high
there.
up there. But it's like, it's just, everything's so beautiful. And then it's kind of like, you just realize, holy shit, we're not camping kind of deal. It's nice.
So you get lost in the beauty, but then you realize that at any moment, if you're not on high alert.
Yeah, there's areas that are shitty, of course, but for the most part, it's a pretty place.
So which war was that? Which surge? Exactly.
Operation Enduring Freedom that's Afghanistan.
Okay. And that came way after, how many years after 9/11?
It actually started just after 9/11, but it was never really publicized. They sent a bunch of CIA dudes there to kill people and find out, gather intel. 2003, I think, is when they really kicked off in Iraq. And then Afghanistan came after that, essentially.
Damn. What was your favorite part about? I mean, obviously, it's war, so there's really it's hard to classify what good times and obviously So
I loved it.
Did you?
Oh,
what was good memories that you had from there?
Camaraderie with the men, because you get so close. Because there's only like 20 dudes. I mean, when I mean remote as fuck, we were remote as fuck. It took almost 2.5, 3 hours to drive to our spot. And then it was like a 45-minute helicopter ride. So, I mean, we were out there in the middle of bumfuck. So you got like 20 dudes living on a small compound in like remote Afghanistan, always getting, and the thing was we were like picking fights with them. It wasn't like just being punched in the face. They'd shoot at us, then we'd come back twice as harder. Do our thing.
You have to do that? Is that like, you have to be attacked first? What's it called?
No, you don't have to be engaged. You could have... there's certain kind of rules of engagement. Like ours was like, if you could PID a guy with a cell phone looking at you, you could probably kill him because he's a spotter.
Yeah,
and we were getting hit with IDs. He's telling locations and shit. It all depends.
So 20 dudes in the middle of nowhere in Afghanistan, and what's your daily routine like? Is there like is it for the most part? Obviously, you train for a whole bunch of and then you get there. Is it something that comes second nature at that point because you've been trained so well, or is it just something that you sort of snap into?
There's certain things I do. Gaining fire superiority, always. That's one thing you always learn. And
what do you mean by that?
Like, you never want to be outgunned. Okay. So gaining fire superiority and making sure that, like, a lot of of course, if you become engaged, you shoot back, but you want to find cover because you can't really kill somebody or engage an enemy correctly if you don't have great cover.
Right, of course.
So first is cover and gains fire superiority. And then you mentally, like you do it so many times, it's over and over, and like your dudes, like they just practice the same drills over and over again, finding spawns and shit. It's the same kind of deal. It's all like second nature. Now, after you gain fire superiority, now you got to figure out, now it becomes a chess game. How are you going to maneuver on the enemy to win? That's all it becomes at that point. Where am I going to go? Am I going to go up this hill? Yeah, of course, because I need...
As a sniper, well, at this time, were you a sniper? Were you hung back or were you like frontline?
I was always, for the most part, I was always up there walking. Depends on what gun I was carrying. Seriously.
Do you have a choice?
Yeah, I had a lot of guns over there. As a sniper, I had a SCAR and an M4 that I never used. I had a Barrett 50 cal. I had a semi-automatic sniper rifle, and then I had a bolt action gun. And every one of those guns is used for a certain purpose. Like I never really carried the Barrett off our little camp, and I only shot it at somebody one time. Yeah, because it's too heavy. It's heavy as hell. Yeah. For the most part, I carried my
360s.
No spins. Nah. No, for the most part, it was just carrying semi-automatic that was suppressed.
And you which one was your like go-to? Like if you can
that one. I probably that one because you can engage. Yeah. And they don't know where you're at.
That one, which one though? Not the
the suppressed 50 or suppressed 7.62.
7.62.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. That's I want to get back to some of the stories because you just wrote a book. Yeah. Is it out on bookshelves?
It is on some Barnes and Noble. I don't know all of them, but I know that Amazon's the main place.
Yeah, and you were like, what? You got to like the number 1 spot at one point?
Yeah, we were number 1 on military section. We were actually number 82 on all of Amazon at one point.
Jesus.
82 on all of Amazon.
Within the first 3 days that you announced it, right?
We were 82. I don't know exact numbers on books sold.
No one does.
I don't know, but I know that we steadily stay in the 4,000 to 5,000 on all of Amazon.
What's the name of the book?
Never Fear Anything.
Never Fear Anything. Yeah. You have a couple of shirts like that too, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So you go out, you serve, you come back.
Yeah.
How's getting acclimated coming back to the States?
It's terrible. It's so hard. That's the hardest thing because you're on such a high tempo. You're like moving and doing shit like twice, like you're fucking getting it for like 9 months straight. And then you come back and then everybody else is like, so it's like coming off a giant high, I guess. It just takes a long time to recoup. Like get yourself back in like, you know what, I can chill out. I don't have to worry about something killing me or driving and not getting fucked up and blown up. So you're like, takes a while. Yeah. It took me a couple of years. I was pretty fucked for a couple of years.
Yeah. So like what ages?
From 23-ish to just before I started YouTube and actually a little bit after I was doing YouTube. YouTube and Hector telling me to do YouTube kind of like saved me because I was like drinking a lot, like every day, like a significant amount. Yeah. Like stupid amount. I was like killing myself. And then Hector told me that I should try YouTube. And I tried YouTube and then come to find out YouTube kind of saved me because I couldn't get drunk and I couldn't film and be drunk. No. So it stopped me from drinking every day.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get to the YouTube part, you try to get acclimated. It takes you a couple of years. How did you come about? Obviously, you played game battles, Call of Duty. How did you come across UMG that made you, or the website that made you want to say, you know what? I have a couple of bucks. Yeah. I want to invest into this. I want to be a part of this from a meaningful level, not just from a participation level.
It was UMG. Well, at the time, I think they just came off like some really bad Halo event or something, and I don't really remember. I wasn't a part of those days when they were doing Halo events. I think it was 2013 back then. I don't know. I was a ticket support specialist for MLG. And I remember I kept bringing it up to the main dude. I was like, man, I think I got a great idea. That's wager matches. Remember, I was like, I remember telling the guy, I was like, they can bet against each other, and then you just take a small piece, and that's all these guys are doing anyway. They're playing money eights on a regular. I was like, why don't you just make it like you be the person that's actually doing it? Yeah. And they kept kicking it back, saying, no, it's not a good idea. And I was working for free at this point. I just wanted to do it. I don't know. Everybody wants to do that kind of shit, I guess. Yeah. And I was also playing tournaments at the time, and I thought I was going to be the next fucking scump or some shit. But that didn't happen.
No. A lot of people are on the same boat as you, me included.
Let's see. And then it just came about like I was driving home and I was on page like 6. I typed in like on Google search.
Okay.
From the Army. I was still driving back. And I remember I typed in on like page 6. I found a number that was attached to UMG through Illinois licensing or some shit. And it was a guy, and I told him, hey, I really want to invest in UMG. I had no money at the time. Sarah and I had like $600, $700 in the bank.
Sarah's your wife.
Yeah, Sarah's my wife. We had no money at the time, like $0. And to spend on shit, that is.
Yeah.
Like invest. And like talked to the guys for a couple of days. I thought I was fake. And because, I mean, I'm a random fucking phone call.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
Come to find out, I ended up a couple days later, weeks later, we got a unsecured loan from the bank because I had good credit for $17,000, and we bought 25%, I think at the time, or 20% or something of UMG.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, I want to be involved in esports and what they're doing. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't even know these guys. Never met them. I met them at UMG Atlanta. Back when Black Ops 2, I don't think you were there. You were not there for that one.
For Black Ops 2? UMG Atlanta?
I don't think you were there for that one. It was a small venue. I just remember looking at it. And at the time, I didn't really know. I'd never been to an esports event. That was my first one.
Yeah.
And
but you knew about competitions and obviously being a support specialist.
Yeah.
And you had been playing Call of Duty, so you understood the game.
I watched them. At the time, I think that was like one of the first Anaheims. Like close to one of the first, and it was huge. Yeah. I just remember seeing it at the venue and just be like, I want to be a part of this. That was back when they're still on Twitch.
Okay.
MLG was. And we just kind of went from there. And then Jeff, you remember Jeff?
Yeah.
He never wanted to.
Covington.
Yeah, he never wanted to go head to head against MLG when it came to online. And I was like, man, that's such a wide open market. I really think I have a good idea here to like do something. And
now, when you're pitching them this, you already have ownership in it.
I had ownership, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I had another buddy of mine who had his leg blown off in Afghanistan. His name was Raymond Kush, and he got paid like $50,000 from the Army for his leg. And he's the only guy I knew that had spare money, and he wanted to invest in something. So we then sold him 20% of UMG to raise money to start the website. Mm-hmm. And that's when we bought Mainstay Games.
Yeah.
Basically, then hired those guys, then kind of took off from there. And my idea behind the entire thing was wager matches. Let's build a system where kids and adults, and I don't want to say kids because it's 18 plus, but I just always refer to
look,
I say kids.
It doesn't matter who you play against online. You always say that kid sucks.
Yeah.
It could be a 30 to 40-year-old on the other thing, but you still call him a kid. It's like saying dude.
Yeah.
Kid, in Call of Duty, in the Call of Duty culture, calling somebody a kid is just calling somebody like a dude, but it's like an insult.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Kids, that's what I'm. Yeah. Anyway, so we did that and started umggaming.com, and I did not think it was going to do that well out the gate. Mm-hmm. And it had just exploded because everybody liked UMG because it was so grassroots.
Yeah.
And then when we came up with a website and an idea that was different than anybody on the market, it wasn't just like, here, go play a tournament with each other.
Yeah.
It was, you guys think you're better. It was like, me, I'm better than you. Okay, well, now let's wager money together.
Yeah.
And it was legal because it wasn't a game of chance. It was a game of skill.
It was a game of skill, and you're betting on yourself and not on somebody else.
And on somebody else.
So I couldn't go in there and bet on Scumpy to beat someone. So the gambling side is no longer there. It's literally you betting on your skill, not your game of chance, to play something.
Yeah. And that was the entire idea. And it took months to building. It took like 4 or 5 months to build. And it launched, and it was pretty successful. That was UMG in a nutshell.
Yeah. How did you guys start? At what point did you guys say, you know what, let's start throwing Call of Duty tournaments, and because it for a while there, everybody, as a team owner, I had to take into account the fact that there's MLG events which are sanctioned, CWL, whatever. But at the same time, you had these opportunities with UMG, so you can earn extra cash for the for players. So how did you guys determine? Did you guys coordinate with MLG? How did it go? Because obviously you guys played in the same thing.
We did towards more of the end when we all started getting integrated on the site. But like at the beginning, it was more like this the entire time.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
Yeah.
We're always like, oh, they're going to shut us down. And we were always worried that Activision was going to shut down our site because in actuality, they have all rights to their game. If they don't want something,
it's theirs. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they can tell you to stop. And I don't think they ever did just because the community seemed like they loved
enjoyed it.
Yeah, so there was no need to shut it down.
No. So you start throwing tournaments. We go down this path, and I remember the first time I met. I don't know. Were we overseas when the first time we were in Seattle?
No, we were.
I remember there being water or near water the first time we met.
Might have been Boston. It could have been Boston or Seattle. I don't know if it'd been Seattle though.
It had to have been. It was Boston.
It was Boston.
1,000% it was Boston. Okay, so we meet in Boston. Jeff. Jeff, one of the owners of UMG, the founder of UMG,
Yep.
He introduces me to you, and I see you, and I'm like, I just see a random dude. You got tattoos everywhere, and I'm like, oh, he's a good old boy. And then he's like, yeah, this guy loves fishing, and I'm like, oh shit, I love fishing too.
Yeah.
And then from there we sort of kicked it off, had a couple of beers, and then I remember telling you, it's like, you guys throwing a tournament in Orlando?
Yep.
And then you're like, yeah, why? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take you fishing. I make a montage of me going fishing with Scott Martin. It's like nobody was doing montages of it from my world. And I remember this one sniper kid. I don't even know where he was from, and I say kid, but he was like 19, 20-year-old. Made fun of me because I made a fishing montage, and I was like on my third fishing montage. He's like, oh wow, someone's making fishing montages. This little, small-minded nothing, right? That didn't see the bigger fucking picture of that there is no rules in content creation. If you want to make a montage about decorating Christmas trees, you can't. Okay, I mean you can. And this dude talks shit. I'm like, literally doesn't get it, right? And I got super mad. I'm just gonna continue to make these montages. So I tell you, I'm like, yo, let's go. If next time we're in Orlando, let's take a drive up to visit Scott Martin. With you was the second time that I went with Scott Martin to shoot that video, and it was you, me, this guy named Eric, and Scott Martin, and then we go fishing and we're shooting videos, and I still have it, and you're like. You're kind of shy behind the camera a little bit, but I'm like, we're having a good time. It's gonna be great.
I wasn't fishing at this time. I wasn't doing YouTube at this time. No, I do remember. I was an awkward, cringy guy, kind of like Nate Shot back in the day when you get on camera.
Which I don't understand because I feel like people that get shy behind a camera literally see the bigger picture better than somebody like me who says it's just a piece of equipment. It's like a wall. The walls could essentially see us if they have eyes. This thing has eyes and it's looking at you. So I've always been like okay in front of the camera. I've never shied away from it. I've never been like that. But Nate was wouldn't look at the camera, wouldn't look at the camera, and that sort of scenario. But we had a good time fishing, right? And then I remember on the drive back home, and you and me have this like weird ass rule that we only bring water on our trips, right? No food, no snacks. And that was the thing. And with Scott Martin, it was the same thing because he's like, are you guys hungry? Because we're not coming back until like it's sundown. And we're like, yeah, we're good. So so we're starving the entire day. The Florida sun is beating the shit out of us, right? And we're just like having the time of our lives because I'm looking for a 7-pounder like nonstop. So a 7-pounder is a 7-pound largemouth bass. If you guys don't know how to fish, now you get the basics. Okay, the bigger the fish, the better the experience. Anyway, so on the way home, we were starving, and you're driving, and I have this very bad, this very bad thing within me that makes me fall asleep on long drives. So I'm falling asleep, and we're driving, and we're like, all right, we need to go get food. So we go to the hotel, we take a shower. And then we go eat to Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze, yeah.
We ordered every single one of the appetizers.
God, I remember that now.
Every single one of the appetizers, and like a main course was a Cajun pasta or some shit. But I remember like going to wash my hands and just feeling like seasick.
Oh, because the boat. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, remember because we're on the boat all day. Yeah. So when you set foot on land, your brain doesn't stop like moving with the waves, and it's like this motion thing. It's in your ears, I guess. It's not your brain, but you were just moving. Anyway, so we fast forward a couple of years. How did you get into YouTube and all that? Well, first, what happens with UMG? You sell your shares when?
Yeah, that whole selling thing's actually kind of funny because I saw somebody retweet somebody that was trying to get into esports. He was like investing in a team. I don't remember which team it was. I think it was like a small org. And I was like, if this guy's investing into a small team, I think he sees the thing, but I don't think he like knows who to
Yeah.
and his last name, I think it said like something, I think it was like Steven something Esquire. And at the time, I had no idea what Esquire even meant. I just knew it meant rich dude or some shit.
Yeah.
It's just a lawyer.
Isn't that what that means?
No, I thought
kidding. I'm totally
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, so I followed him on Twitter, and he followed me back. And I just asked him if he was looking to invest in esports, and he said yes. I literally found the guy that bought me out and the other guys out on Twitter on a random retweet.
Yeah.
Because I saw his name said Esquire.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds rich.
That sounds rich. He's got some money. Let's try to sell this sumbitch. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's how you got out?
That's how I got out, yeah. Because I don't know. I just, in business, it's just, you got to get out at some point, and everything just wasn't really clicking over there. The guys, they wanted to go a different path, and I was just like, I was never like blinded in like so small vision oriented type shit. I was always like bigger fucking picture.
Yeah.
Let's make this sumbitch big.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to stay small and make the same kind of money and stay like this.
Yeah.
Like just stay, because it took money to make, I wanted to sell a chunk and then use that money to make it bigger.
Yeah.
But that never happened. So
No.
I just got out.
Okay. So now you have a sizable chunk of money. Okay. You can sit around and not do shit.
I could.
What do you do?
Started a YouTube channel. Mainly because I had nothing else going on. I mean, it wasn't enough money to last me my entire life. It was enough money to where if I didn't want to work for a year, I didn't have to work for a year. Didn't have to do shit. Like, seriously. But that wasn't enough. Like, I can't just sit around and not do anything. So Hector told me about YouTube, and this was kind of like around the time where I didn't really, mentally, I was kind of fucked because I was still trying to like come back from Afghanistan at the same time and then cope with the fact I got hurt, even though I just got selected for all this cool guy shit. And it was just mentally fucking me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the YouTube thing. I think it was like August. I started my first video. Well, I started my channel like 2 or 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days before Avery was born. Then Avery was born. And then I started clicking with myself. I was like, man, I really need to do something.
Now, when you say you're struggling, is it just like PTSD?
Yeah, I couldn't cope. I don't know. Just didn't get along with people. I don't know, just society in general. I just couldn't fucking mesh at all. It was terrible.
You hit it well, bro, because every single time that we went out, like at an event, and we would go out and get drunk, like we went super hard and got drunk. Like I obviously left before you did it, and all these, I was already in bed by the time we were like about to get started. But you hit it well, because I never really saw that side of you where like I could have even known that you were struggling.
Yeah.
And when you say, obviously, when you say you're trying to cope, is it just? I mean, and obviously, I'm limited to this sort of knowledge. Having watched like the movies that that portray, for example, American Sniper, right? One of my favorite movies. Did you watch that movie? What did you think about it?
Just terrible.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
Not at all, Hutch.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was just terrible. Lone Survivor is way more
Accurate.
Yeah. Well, I've never been in that situation, but everything, the gun sounds, everything else is real. That sniper movie, the scene where the helicopter's coming up, I actually almost left the movie theater, but my buddy wanted to watch it. The helicopter came up, there's a dust storm coming in. The helicopter would have never took off because the air would have been red. Like that helicopter would have never took off. He could have never made that shot. It just was too Hollywood.
Yeah. But the post-traumatic stress thing where he's just sitting there, looks like a normal dude, but when they took his pulse, he's just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Is it because you're always on high alert knowing that at any point something bad can happen while you're there, but then once you're here, your mind's always on high alert?
Yeah, it's the tempo. It's kind of like it's like you have a constant like adrenaline, like it's almost like I once saw these mental health people a whole bunch, and it was like always your body can only deal with so much adrenaline at one time. And if it's constantly just fucking pumping, it's almost like it kind of fucks a certain part of your brain up to where you always need it. It's like you feel like
it's adrenaline junkies,
yeah,
man.
it's like you're like super like agitated and like fucking when you're like normal, but if you hop on a roller coaster, that's where you're like, kind of fucking chill. If I'm about to jump out of an airplane, I'm probably more calm jumping out of an airplane than I am like driving. Because it's like that's where I'm like level.
So you did jump out of airplanes and all that?
Yeah. But what I'm saying, but what I mean is like when you're about to get that spike of adrenaline, when you hit like your adrenaline where you were at sustained for like 9 months straight, just the same adrenaline rush, and then you come back and then there's none, your body's always trying to get back to that. So that's where you get fucked.
Yeah. So you chose video games instead of extreme sports.
It was trying to have a way to try to cope, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And at this time, where you were seeing therapists and all that to help you out, and you just need to keep your mind busy some way somehow, and that's where YouTube comes in. Obviously, you can't drink and create YouTube videos, but at the same time, you have this sort of task, which is like a challenge every single day to create a story, get home, edit the story, and then track the analytics and how good it does.
Creating a story was the hardest thing to learn how to do as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like making the story. I remember we were driving back from the second time we fished with Scott Martin. After I started the YouTube channel, I'd been going for like 2 months. I had like 1,000 subs. And I remember driving back and I literally asked you, I said, how do I get more subs? Like, how do I do it? And you said, upload every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that really clicked. And then it was Sarah quit her job. I was like, I'm going to try YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try it. We have money coming in from my sell of the company.
Yeah.
I was like, this is our time to try it. She quit her job, and then that March, it went from like 3,000 subs, and then I was getting like 300 a day, 300 a day, 400, 500, 500, 500, 800, and 1,000. It just rolled.
Bro, I remember like my text messages back and forth with you were like, dude, I just got 1,000 subs today. It's fucking wild. I'm doing this, that, and that. And I remember the first time I'm like, wait, how did you get your first 400? And you're like, oh, I went on this fishing forum.
Oh God, that fishing forum. Yeah. I went there.
That's super smart though, bro. I'm gonna tell you why it's smart. And I remember doing this very early on, but I never take into account it's one of the tools to use to propel your audience, for example. And this goes for anybody that is creating anything on YouTube. Find forums or find communities where there's already a congregation of people, right? And then say, hey guys, I created something. Would you mind taking a look? And then if for whatever reason, 200 of those 400 people go watch it and they click like and they share it with somebody, it starts this like sort of avalanche effect or domino effect that sort of propels you to where you're at. But so anyway, so you're at like 1,000 and then 400. Like at what point were you like, dude, I have 25,000 subs?
Oh shoot. Summertime. It took me, I didn't get paid from YouTube for like 8 or 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like just did YouTube videos for free. Like literally just because I was like, I want to try this.
Yeah.
It took me a month. I don't know. Summertime, I got 25,000 subs, I think. But at the time I knew it. I was like, I can do this. This could be huge. Because at the time it was like John B was making videos, Flair was making videos. I think One Rod was making videos, those kind of guys, but they weren't doing it daily. Fluke Master was making them. They weren't doing them daily. They were doing like 1 a week, 2 a week. Like there wasn't a big enough audience yet on YouTube.
So John B, Andrew Flair, One Rod, and Fluke Master, these are all fish or YouTubers that create fishing content.
Yeah, back in the day they did. Now 2 of them don't really, I don't think, but no one was doing it like daily. And I remember making these daily videos and I would get so much fucking hate from people because I was doing like shit like, instead of just making a fucking fishing video, like, hey, it's flip. Oh, and Lake Fork guy, can't forget him. But I'm going to flip this fucking jig underneath this dock and it's going to get eaten. I was like, all right, this is what I'm putting on my fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
I was like bringing the whole vlog aspect to the outdoor world. And then it started really gaining momentum. Then everybody else started doing it. Mm-hmm. And once everybody else started doing it, that's when the audience just exploded.
Yeah.
Like, there was actually, because at the time, 3 videos a week for fishing on all of YouTube, and then it became like 100 videos a week from everybody.
Yeah.
And now it's thousands of videos a week.
Yeah.
So I just bring in the whole vlog aspect, and I got it from you because you just kept telling me, tell the story and upload fucking daily. Mm-hmm. That's all you said.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because I always thought that, the optic model that was there could work just across everything. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't just a thing specific to gaming. I thought that it could, the same sort of principles and the same sort of structure and the same sort of storyline could be created for anything. Mm-hmm. Okay, whether you're sewing, it could have been this model could be applicable to anything. You could be fixing cars and are a mechanic, and then you can build something. Mm-hmm. You could be a painter and upload a drawing. Like I can sit here and tell anybody anything on how to grow their channel, just because it's just simple common sense principles that I thought were common sense, but they weren't. But I remember bragging about you to, I don't know who it was, but I'm like, dude, this dude started at the beginning of the year with 0 subs. You know, at the end of December, this dude had like 500,000 subscribers. It is the wildest like growth I'd ever witnessed. And I remember sitting down with you, and I'm like, dude, because at the time I think you had already started to make videos and start collabing, right? Because that was one of the main things, you know, collaborations within your industry with people who are doing the same thing. It's like cross pollination of audiences, right? So who's the first dude that you reached out to? Was that One Rod or was that John B?
Andrew Flair. And I was at the time I was using my Robert Terkla Twitter account, and it was verified. So right when I sent him a message, he got it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, this guy's verified." This is literally what he told us. And he's like, "I just came because you were verified." Yeah. I was like, "Okay, whatever." But at the time, he had 36,000 subs or some shit, and I think I had like 8, maybe 7, like somewhere below 10. It was not 10, and it was me, you, and him. We went out to the lake and we caught some fish. And that was pretty much
So how
it.
did you invite him out though? Like what was the?
I was like, "Hey man, I'll pay for your flight if you want to come down and fish. Maybe we'll catch some fish." And I think I think before you, I think it was either before you or after you. Because before he came down and we went and fished Lake Fork and we caught like 4 or 5 5-pounders and a 6-pounder or something. And to him back then, that was a huge fucking deal. Because he was just fishing Nebraska ponds and they don't have a lot of 5s and 6s and shit. So I just came down, found some fish, and it really exploded.
So you bought his plane tickets. So you essentially you're investing in the success of your channel because you're saying, okay, I'm gonna fly this in and I'm gonna sort of be advertising on somebody else's channel.
It was just kind of like like you said, cross pollinating and trying to build something. And then it just went from there. And then I started working with One Rod and then One Rod, John B, even Fluke Master back then, and all the guys. And then we all became kind of good friends. And then some stuff happened, and now it's just myself. At the time, it was myself, myself, Perrick, John, and Flair. Yeah. And Mike, I think 2 Februaries ago, kind of like distanced himself and wanted to stay, did the fame life. It's kind of like that one episode, one thing you posted when you're like, cool, you want to stay home and you want to do the whole family life thing, fucking pound it, but then you have to deal
with the one that's doing the same thing that you want to do, but at the same time working your ass off to be something.
That's the thing.
Anyway, so when your sort of team got together, this was before you even called yourselves Googan.
This was a copy from you, 100%. I've said that 100 times.
But I remember telling you, I'm like, dude, you guys are literally going to disrupt the fishing space. Like,
did we?
Did you?
Oh God.
Yeah. I called it from the beginning. I'm like, the fishing industry on YouTube is gonna explode. And then this thing happens. You guys get together and I'm like, bro, you literally don't know how much of a disruption you're bringing to the thing. Idea. I saw it coming a mile away. I saw you guys being on Fishing Digest with a picture of all 4 or all 5 of you guys just sitting there, and then it's like the kids that are disrupting the fishing industry. Like I saw the whole thing. I saw what was gonna happen with your story.
That article literally did come out.
Yeah,
this summer.
Did it?
Yes, this summer when we did a meetup at ICAST, and we pissed off.
So what's ICAST?
It was ICAST. ICAST. It was like the biggest convention, outdoor fishing convention deal.
Right. So picture Comic-Con, picture
same thing.
Complex Con, like all these cons. Picture that, but for fishing.
And they didn't. Oh fuck.
So you held a meetup. Which means it's pretty much you just tweeted, made videos. All 5 of you made videos. Like, yo, come meet us.
Yeah, we had. I mean, it wasn't like the biggest meetup of all time. It was like 500 people, which is significant for the size of where we were because we put it out like 2 days in advance, and then we had a line for like 3 hours. We just stood there, handed out pizza, and we just pissed off. That's when we knew that these people, like the industry, is either scared and confused, and they don't know what the hell's going on because they can't just fathom the idea that guys that don't fish in tournaments have a following, but they fish. Yeah. They don't realize that not everybody wants to fish tournaments. No one really, there's 99% of fishermen
don't fish tournaments.
Right. They just want to fish and have fun.
Yeah.
So that's when they really realize, holy shit. And there was this long article written about us, and it was all in our favor because we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
The same thing you said.
So yeah, like I just saw it, man. I just saw the vision as to what it was going to become. Just because I understood what it is, right? I understood that my players from Call of Duty, which is one of the smallest esports, had a bigger following on social media than any other esport personality out there on bigger esports, bigger esports.
No, yeah.
And I'm like, you know, people are gonna be sponsoring where the eyeballs are more than who's winning fucking tournaments. Like, who cares about I care about these trophies now, but nobody really gave a fuck about those tournaments until we made them care. Until we created a community, until we created the green wall. No one's gonna do it. You know, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and nobody's around to see you win a championship, did you fucking win a championship? No, you didn't. Okay, so that was one of the main things that did it for me. So where did the name Googan come from? So just so you guys know, Googan Squad is the name of his
collective. We'll call it the collective of guys.
Yeah, the collective of guys. Yeah. So tell me, where did that name come from? Because I thought it was sick.
So it's funny because I remember I fishing with Blacktip multiple times before all this started. He kept calling like ignorant fishermen Googans.
Okay.
Like, that was the thing in Florida. You look up Googan, it's like an ignorant fisherman or some shit. I don't know.
So Blacktip H is a very, very famous YouTuber. He does Blacktip is the name of a shark.
Yeah,
Black
he does saltwater stuff.
Yeah,
basically.
saltwater sharks. Has had, you know, football players, baseball players, like everybody. Anyway, so you're fishing with him and he keeps on calling people Googans.
Yeah, Googans. And I think it was like I distinctly remember it being like cold out. I was on an airplane. I was in the aisle seat and I looked to my left and it was raining. That's all I remember. And we were all in a group chat and we always fucked with each other. It was myself, Perrick, John, Flair, and One Rod, all in a group chat. And we always fucked with each other constantly, like doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
So I made an Instagram account, and the reason why we made the Instagram account is because we were always posting memes. If you go back and look at our shit from a long time ago, we would just post memes.
Yeah.
It was just memes, this dumb shit.
Yeah.
And it was just to, I don't know, our fans, or I don't want to call them fans, but our people that supporters, our people that watched us, they always knew the inside jokes.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't follow the meme account, I guess, quote unquote, and it just took off. It went from like 5,000, 10,000,
and you named the meme account
Googan Squad, because we was like, you know what, we are bad fishermen fucking around having a good time.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna call ourselves a group of guys the Googan Squad, and then from then it was like, holy shit, now we have 100,000. This is an actual thing.
Yeah.
So then we made our logo, and then I was like, you know what, guys, I think we can actually take this to another level. I think we should mimic what Hector did. And no one was really on at the beginning. It took like 2 or 3 months for people to be like, you know, this could be actually a good idea.
Yeah.
And then we made a company, and then from there we tried to build the brand Googan itself to what it is now. Now we have damn near everything.
Yeah,
it's
so
just crazy.
So as all of this is happening, I had launched 2 years prior, or a year prior to that, I launched an apparel company called Basshers, BASS, Basshers. Basshers. And my whole idea there was, you know, I would go to Cabela's, I would go to Bass Pro Shops, and I would want to buy stuff that I could wear out. You know what I'm saying? Just like there was no, I mean, still to this day, aside from maybe like 100 Thieves, nobody has, or Third Label, you know, that too. It's not a thing no more. But aside from that, there's no real streetwear brand that says, hey, you know, I'm a gamer, but I'm also into fashion. Or, you know, I like streetwear or whatever. So I created this thing called Basshers, and I teamed up with this dude named Sueda, who created all the branding for it. And it was nasty. It was so sick. I liked it. He created this one skeleton of a bass that I completely fell in love with. And I'm like, holy shit, that itself can be, that logo alone can, or that image alone can be sold for a shit ton of money if put in the right circumstances. Wow. So I created Basshers, and then, you know, this Googan thing happens, and I'm like, holy shit, that's what it is. That's what's gonna happen. And I remember telling him, like, man, if you put all these guys in, because the next thing you do once you establish yourself as the leader on YouTube content creation for that specific segment, what you do is you try to transcend that, right? You're known as the fishing guys, as the Googan Squad, the guys that are just fishing YouTubers, have no interest in going into tournaments, but you have all the interest in the world to content creation and sharing an experience with somebody else who does the exact same thing. Yep. Right? And I remember telling you, I'm like, man, if you should get a house and bring all those dudes together, and you should start doing a podcast, you should start talking, you know, doing challenges that don't necessarily have to do with fishing, but it sort of transcends whatever.
Reach a bigger audience that's outside of fishing, because I knew exactly where you were trying to go, because it's like we were making so much fishing content, but we were really only like targeting that demographic. And then we're like, you know what? Now let's take the blinders off a little bit. Now let's do some different shit. And that's when the Googan Squad channel itself is not, I would say 50% of the video are not even fishing related whatsoever. It's basically just a collective of our followers that watch.
Yes.
What it turned into. But the house did pan out. The house, I haven't told anybody this. I don't think anybody knows. The house is actually going away very soon. And we're actually getting a very big space, like a giant content creation space, like big. Like
how big? My question to that is, how big is the aquarium going to be in that fucking facility?
I don't know yet.
And can I contribute a fish that I catch?
God. Yeah, of course. It's going to be big enough for it's. We're talking.
Listen, I don't want you to spill the level here.
No, it's big.
Okay.
It's like something where people are going to see it and be like, "Holy shit, these guys have stepped it up." Because it's like you can only stay what I call stagnant, doing the same kind of shit.
Yeah,
you have to propel yourself, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, no, that's good. What were some of the early struggles of trying to get this group of Googans together? Because I always find that everybody has this sort of path that they want to follow, and it isn't until somebody else that comes parallel to that path and says, if we merge both of our paths, we can really carve out more than what we asked for. Were there any struggles at the beginning?
Oh yeah, because I think the guys were young at the time. Like they were young, like I think 18, 19, like 20 maybe max.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like they were very, very content driven and only wanted to worry about content. So it was really hard to get everybody in the same mindset of Googans the channel needs to have content on it monthly.
Yeah.
Like we need to come together and make content. For the first couple of months, it was so hard. And then towards like month like 4 and 5, the whole Googan Week aspect started really taking shape.
Mm-hmm.
And now the guys are so fixated on making sure that the Googan Squad channel has the fucking best content there ever is. So when we come together for those 4, 5, or 6 days, we generate, 8 to 12 videos, but they're like
top quality videos.
Yes. And it takes us hours. We had like a think tank where we sit there and we think of these videos that we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's just now everybody has the same mindset that the Googan brand is like Lunkers TV will only be around so long, but the Googan brand will be along forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And I will be replaced at some point. I will get old and
we are the same. We are the same person. All right, keep
that's
going.
it. I'm gonna fall off, and there's people that we're already looking at that are gonna come up and replace us.
Yeah.
And then the brain's just gonna continue to roll.
Yeah, that is inspirational, and I mirror every sentiment. Right at the beginning of the year, there was this whole issue with what I did, with the merging or the acquisition, and people were saying the same thing. I'm doing this for Optic to survive, forever, hopefully. If done the right way, it could, right? Anyway, so that's awesome. All right, so now that you guys have this sort of, dude, the amount of views that you guys get on a monthly basis is fucking nuts. Okay, never in my life, just to give you a little bit of an idea, never in my life have I done more than 10 million views in a month on anything that I've done. Not on Optic by itself, on Optic Nation, and not on Hecz by itself. I got I think the most views I ever did on 1 month is like 6.5 million views.
Which is good.
Yeah.
That's good
yeah.
Views.
But you did like for a couple of months there, you were doing like 10 to 11 million views a month. Just to give you an idea and to wrap this into a nice little bow. The same guy that said, "I can't believe they're doing fishing montages," right? 10 million views just on one fucking person. Okay. So I like, it feels good to be right all the time.
So you were way right. You were pretty right.
Tapping myself on my back, as I love to do. But it is one, awesome, but more importantly for me, I'm just like happier that I was right, and one of the people that are benefiting from it is a friend of mine.
I don't know what the chances of that happening are.
What are the chances of that happening? Right? Anyway, so that's just you, right? You have 10, and then John B obviously killing it. Peric,
everybody was killing,
and then and then now there's this massive community. Give me an idea as to how big this thing is on YouTube. How big is fishing? If you were to give a guesstimate as to, and you put the top 20 channels together, how many views do they do a month? If you put, is it over 1 billion?
It's a lot.
Close?
Like it's a lot of views. We're talking. I don't know, maybe 500 million plus.
Yeah, and that's just the top 20.
There's a lot of views out there.
Yeah.
But now it's like you can break down in subcategory. You got guys that just do pond videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like, it used to just be straight fishing.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
And now there's been like a subcategory that's been broken off. Now you got guys that do like pond videos only. They don't really fish.
Pond hoppers, yeah.
But no, I'm not talking pond fishing. I'm talking pond videos. Like they'll just feed fish in a pond.
Okay.
Or in a fish tank. That's like their niche genre, but they don't really fish. They used to fish, but then I don't know if they just were like, because we had like control, I guess, essentially the fishing side.
Yeah.
And they broke off and did their thing. And now they're very successful on the pond making and pond feeding and shit like that.
Stocking your pond.
Stocking your ponds. And they're doing those videos. People love those videos.
Yeah.
And give them props. They're killing it over there.
Yeah. And then you have my dude, he used to be in Phase. And then
Diamoti.
Yeah, Diamoti.
So he went from doing fishing videos that were doing like mediocre views. And then I think he did like one treasure hunting video and it just went bam.
Yeah.
And took off. And now he's giant.
He's close to 10 million, right?
He's fucking
Bro,
giant.
I remember the
He's doing
video.
great.
I remember his video. So just so you know, there's this guy, Diamoti, right? He used to be in Phase. He used to be a sniper for Phase, okay? And I'm gonna give Keemstar some props here, okay? Because when I launched Basshers, he said, "Yo, sponsor this guy." And at the time, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm there with Basshers yet. I don't know if I want to do that. And at the time, this dude was just doing fishing videos, and I remember going and watching, and he was getting like 50,000 views. I'm like, oh, that's good. He's taking off. That's awesome. Cool dude. Obviously, always has been a cool dude. He used to draw too. I think he used to draw. I don't remember whether it was him or not, but I sort of associate him with him drawing. But then all of a sudden, I see. I stopped keeping track of him for some reason, and all of a sudden I see he's about to hit 1 million from scuba diving in rivers and finding like treasures,
iPhones and shit. Yeah.
iPhones and shit, and all of a sudden like he's close to 10. So it is one of those scenarios where categories do merge. So you have video games, which is an indoor activity for the most part, and then you have an outdoor activity, which is fishing, hunting, and all that. And people fail to realize a lot of the times that there is a lot of people like me who do both. And that's the whole reason behind Basshers was that I knew that there was a fishing community that loves to fish, because anytime I uploaded a fishing video, there was 30,000 views on that. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How can I create a community around that? How can I sort of have an extra connection with these people that already follow me for optic and video games? How can I have this connection with them through fishing? And that was like my whole thought behind the Basshers thing. And Keemstar, I remember Keemstar telling me, sponsor this, sponsor this. And you fast forward 2 years and this dude's like massive.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, and he's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
So you have these subcategories, right? In sort of fishing, but it's split up into so many things. You have him as scuba diving. You have the pond hoppers, then you have the pond feeders and pond
everybody's
maintainers, I guess.
Everybody, I think the smallest category in the outdoor world is tournament fishing. Like I think that's the smallest blip on the grand scale of things. I think it's still a big market.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as big as just conventional fishing.
Well, I don't think it can. I don't think it can be. It's
too expensive.
Well, it's too expensive, right? So give me an average. So
fucking like one tournament. Like if you were to fish, I fished one tournament in my life, and it was a Costa tournament. And I had been fishing at that point for like 4 months. Mm-hmm. I did it just to see what it was like, just to get the experience. It ended up costing me like $4,500 in total between hotel, gas, and entry fee. And I missed the money by like a pound and some ounces. Mm-hmm. Like, I would rather put $4,500 on black and roll the fucking dice. And that was literally like the pivotal point where I was like, you know what? This tournament shit is gambling, like, because Mother Nature's Mother Nature, and the fish may not bite one day, but it just wasn't for me. So I was like, you know what? Let's go after fishing on YouTube. It's kind of funny is I watched Gary Vee for like 1 week, and it's kind of everything else. I think he's very repetitive. He's a great thing. But he even said it one time. He's like, if you're still watching me after a week or two, you fucked up or something, because like you didn't listen to anything I said.
Yeah.
But he said one thing that stuck. It was like there was an internet land grab, and that stuck in my mind. And that was years ago, or years later after we'd already done on YouTube. And I was like, man, back then it was kind of almost like a land grab of a sense, because all of us kind of collectively went together. Mm-hmm. And now we own a very large chunk of the online presence for fishing. So it was like a land grab. I don't know.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little about. So you brought me a present today.
I did, yes.
You brought me a cooler full of elk meat.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've been the reason that I wanted to try elk was because Joe Rogan. Yeah, Joe Rogan said this very, very important thing that stuck with me. And I don't know if it's important or not. It was important to me and it stuck with me. He said that the reason he eats elk or moose, was it? No, elk or bison? Mm-hmm. Elk or bison and also, salmon, is because these animals are hustling every single day. They're full of adrenaline and testosterone every single day. So if you are a body lifter, which I'm not, okay, if you exercise, which I don't, but I will, and you are adding this sort of nutrition to your diet, you're going to have some results because these are hustlers. If you're out there hustling every single morning to just be better, as a human, whether it's mental in business, it's mental in education, or it's physical in working out, or if you're potentially like me who has the freedom to do both, you're going to benefit from this sort of nutrition. And then that same day that I saw him say that in the podcast, Sarah, your wife, posted, "Oh, I'm making elk," and then I sent her a DM. I'm like, "Yo, where'd you buy that elk?" And then she's like, "What, dummy?" I'm like, "Rob hunted it for me," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I just?" I'm like, it just clicked. I don't know why it didn't click then, but it did. So I know there's a lot of look. I love animals, and I've told him many times I will not shoot an animal, but I will eat the shit out of it. I'm not a hypocrite. I actually do support the hunting that they do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're in Africa and you're hunting rhinos or extinct species, I'm gonna fucking be mad. But in this case, what you hunt is you get tags or tickets.
You get tags.
So tags. And explain that a little bit. It's just overpopulation that needs to be managed, correct?
Everything is managed. Like every species of animal is managed. Like
except for fucking humans.
So yeah,
we should have tags that says, let me look at your bank account, let me look at your job, and let's see whether or not you can afford to have 5 fucking kids. Okay? Don't get me started on that. So, no, right? Yeah. It pisses me off, bro. I often find myself, I'm like, look, I have one kid and I'm so lucky to have her.
We would call those kind of people coal bucks.
Coal bucks, what do you mean?
Coal bucks. You kill coal bucks to manage the population to keep the good ones in.
Okay.
So basically, like, you can get management tags to kill certain animals that their horns are jacked up. Like, they'll have one on one side and 2 on the other. Yeah. And they're never going to be a good buck. Yeah. They don't have good genes. Yeah. So you take out the bad genes. You're able to do that with animals. Yeah. Humans, not so much.
Not yet. No. One day when the AI overlords come for us, we're gonna.
Dude, have you seen the robots?
Yes.
In Walmart.
Yes.
They're security robots.
Not in Walmart.
Walmart. We went to Walmart the other day, and there was a fucking security robot, fucking 6 foot high, just with an arm, just wheeling around. I saw one in a parking lot too, in a casino.
What do you mean wheeling around?
Just doing like this, just rolling.
And just looking.
I don't know.
Can you stop it and ask it questions?
I think it's a person that's controlling the robot looking, so you don't have to have a human walking around looking. I think it had 2 giant eyeball
goggles. Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking robot just
wheeling
around Walmart in fucking South Fort Worth.
Jesus.
No shit.
Are we there already?
I don't know. Blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. So I wasn't kidding. I literally mean that. Anyway, so population control needs to happen globally, not just with all species. Okay. And we need to take care of the species that killing sharks and killing dolphins in some fucking place in New Zealand. I don't even know where it is. That is by far one of the weirdest shit. Not only that, but you just put the worst insult you can put right here. If you take rhino horn for any medicinal purposes, you're stupid. A literal fucking moron. Yeah. There is scientific proof that it does nothing.
It all goes to China.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to insult any cultural traditions or anything like that, but at some point or another, we have to evolve as a species. Okay, so without insulting any culture whatsoever, we do have to rethink the culture if it affects the environment somehow. Anyway, so you get tags. Obviously, one of the things that Joe Rogan also said is that when you hunt, you're hunting already matured, big ass elk that are more than likely not going to have a good rest of the season.
They only live I mean, deer live like 6 to 8 years max. Then their teeth basically fall out. Like they eat, the shit they eat ruins their teeth, and then they don't have any teeth, and then they're going to die anyway because they can't eat.
Starvation.
Yeah, so you may as well just kill them. You could tell by their noses, like they'll get a Roman nose on deer and shit. You could tell how old a buck is, essentially. But like elk, I mean, like a big elk, he'll have sex with like 50 freaking cows and impregnate all of them. So it's not really...
Yeah.
Everything's managed though. Like these elk are managed down to, you can only kill so much in basically this county. You can only kill this, like they manage them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything's managed perfectly.
Yeah. So again, I would never do it, but I fully support, because from a scientific perspective, and I'm not a scientist, but I kind of am. Like I see the benefit of being able to. Yeah.
But think about it, they ate too much food. Now there's not enough food for them all.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, too much population.
The other thing, I remember, I don't know when it was years ago. I think I may have been in high school. One of the first times that a friend of mine went hunting, he said, you know, for farmers, it's a lot easier to take care of a $10,000 problem with a $2 bullet or something like that. Like because they will ruin crops and.
Oh my God.
Like
yes,
hogs, for example.
Pigs are the worst. Elk actually ruin a lot of crop as well because they're just so big. It's kind of like when I was in Africa. Elephants, they actually do have tags for elephants in certain countries because they just come through and they destroy shit. Like, I mean, think about it. The motherfucker is huge.
Yeah.
He runs over trees, knocks over trees. But anyway, like here we got a huge hog problem.
In Texas, you mean?
No tags for hogs. Hogs and coyotes, you can do anything you want with them because they need to go.
Yeah.
But
are they an invasive species?
Yeah. Coyotes aren't, but hogs are. Invasive is.
What is that invasive? The Asian carp? That's the invasive species.
Yeah, they are the flying carp. I don't remember which. It's an Asian carp.
What's crazy about that is that I started hearing about that in Chicago and how it was going to make it to the lake.
Yeah.
And if it made it to the lake, you know, it would have been a fucking.
We don't have them down here.
No, not
we
yet.
We don't have them down here. We don't. I don't know. On the rivers up there, like the Mississippi, I think, or some shit, they've jumping in boats. You have to wear helmets and shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, so all right, the reason I was talking about hunting is because, you know, Googan, and I feel this is true to YouTubers specifically. Okay, I think what YouTube sort of forced people to do is to become entrepreneurs because of the opportunity that lend itself.
Yeah.
If you're a person like me who worked in corporate America from the time that he was 18 all the way to the time he was 29, so 10 years in corporate America, you almost become a person that doesn't have. Oh, okay. Let me rephrase that. A person that didn't have the knowledge to know that you can become a business owner if you have a regular job, right? With YouTube specifically, the freedom that it allows you to be your own boss, to work your own hours, sort of makes you think, what else can I do? You know, this is going so well for me. What else can I do? And you see this sort of like entrepreneurship in YouTubers more than anything. Like I cannot tell you how many people have gone into real estate, how many people have gone into like obviously apparel, music. Like it's not just a one-stop shop for YouTube. In your case, and in your team's case, the Googan Squad, you guys saw an opportunity to really make it bigger, right? So you have your Googan baits.
Yeah, Googan baits are. That's blown. That's doing better than anybody could have ever possibly imagined.
So again, disrupting the fishing industry because, you know, if you look at Strike King or
you got Strike King, Gary Yamamoto,
Zoom. So all these baits, just to give you an idea, if you don't know anything about fishing, baits are just pretty much artificial insects that you throw in a lake and fish eat, right? They mimic the movement of an insect that they get picked up, or shad, which is a smaller fish.
Yeah,
or something
about
like
anything.
Yeah, about anything. There's been companies that have been around for hundreds of years. Am I right? Forever, right? And they've had this sort of status quo across the entire industry. Like that, all you buy is this, that, and the other, and that's it, right? And if you are somebody who has a good idea and you go to them, they're gonna either shut you out or take your idea and then just make it their own. What you guys have done, because of the ability to have your own advertising platform, which is, you know, your YouTube videos, you have been able to say, you know what? Let's not get sponsored by.
Googan Bait started off spite almost. 100%. Because people, when we're like, hey, we want to work with you, like any bait company, they're like, well, you're not a pro. You don't fish on the fucking tour. They would give us all this load of bullshit. And they're like, we don't see any value in you. So that's what fucking triggered and sparked.
That's just then. Old people,
that
man.
That pissed me off so fucking much. I was like, you know what? You're a dumb motherfucker. We're we're gonna come out and we're gonna wring some necks.
Yeah.
And we worked for over a year to build these baits.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'm gonna say, watch the fuck out. We're gonna crush nuts.
Yeah.
Is what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, the sales that I've heard are ridiculous.
We sold out in 22 minutes on the first announcement.
Now,
And
what
then
does that mean when you sell out in 22 minutes? How many? Give me a rough idea. Don't give me exact
It
numbers.
was a lot. Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
And like instantly, just gone.
Gone.
And it wasn't just because, I think it's because everybody wanted to test it out. And now, after they've used them and seen them, I know that this last week, we were the #1 selling soft plastic in all of Dick's. I know we've done very well in Tackle Warehouse and then GooganBase.com and all that kind of stuff. But it's just it all goes back to having a very loyal follower that like, why support a company like the way that everybody that buys our stuff they're like, why would we support like say some random soft bait company that we don't have any
connection to?
We have no connection to them. We don't know them. They're just some guy or gal that's sitting in an office trying to sell their product to whatever. But now it's like, all right, well, we built a product. So
well, the thing there is that it happens like across a multitude of industries. Okay, it's old people who have long-standing relationships and doing business.
Network, yeah.
In doing business the same way. I mean, you see that in advertising nowadays. The only reason that esports is not getting the sponsorships that it should be getting at this point in time, while getting a competitive viewership or audience with traditional sports, is because advertisers. I'm not going to say. Let's say Project X is the name of a business. This dude, this gray-haired 70-year-old man who has been doing business on billboards, magazines, and TV to his friend, who's also 70 years old, who knows his grandchildren, who buys him, his whiskey at the end of the month every month because of the business he gets him.
Yeah.
Those sort of relationships are going to go away very, very soon here. And I'm not saying that they're going to pass away, but they're going to retire. Okay, and when these young 30 to 40-year-old people like me who understand the industry and are in the advertising that are in the advertising realm, they're going to be like, we're not doing it the old way no more. Okay, people aren't fucking looking at billboards or flipping through magazines. We want the consumer, we want the people that are going to buy. We're going to look at where they're at. We're going to advertise on the computer. We're going to advertise on YouTube, and that's where it's going to be. I have this joke with Fwiz where I'm like, I cannot believe that NBC and CBS and all these like broadcasting traditional TV companies are allowing YouTube to advertise
on their shit,
on their channel.
They don't have an idea what's going on. They're literally letting the biggest competitor advertise.
Think about this. Think about a world in where, let's go back, 50 to 75 years. Okay. Think about a world where TV is advertising on radio.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what's happening. The reason that people didn't want to partner with you or that is because they have these relationships, Abu Garcia is always going to go with, Johnny won 50 tournaments Johnson a long time ago. And he's his advertising platform. You look at my jersey. I'm in his jersey. But who watches fishing on TV besides old people that already have all the gear in the world? Nobody. I can't even tell you what the last time that I saw fishing, and I love fishing. I can't tell you the last time that I watched a fishing anything on television. I don't even know what fucking channel to look at. What's the outdoor channel? What is it? What's NRA TV? No one does it. Everything is on this. And when you say, hey, professional fisherman, let me advertise on you, but now we're going to advertise on your YouTube channel because that's where the young audience is. What do you think this professional is going to say? The same one that said, I'm not one of those little kids that are doing this for fun. This is my job. This is my profession. This is where all the money, this is how I feed my family. People that fail to adapt will always be left fucking
It's so
behind.
true. It's so true.
Always.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you said, you know what?
Fuck it. They gave me the motivation.
Yeah.
Dude, it gave us like, I'm so glad that they all said, you know what? We don't really see the value in you. Because now it's like, all right, well, now I'm going to fucking prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm going to start taking your spot in the stores. We're going to come after you. Like, you gave us a reason to now really do it.
Yeah.
Like,
the only time people are going to buy your product is because ours is sold out and you're right next to me. Okay. Know that. I mean, and you look at the packaging that you guys created, right? It's cool. It's not this old, ugly yellow and fucking red.
Damn, you know what's crazy about the color scheme? Fuck, where did I get that from?
No, did you not? Relax. Green and black is incredible. All right, so you have baits. Your rods have been sold off like every single time. You guys held a meetup at a Bass Pro Shop without telling them, and then by the end of the meetup, bass pro shops, like, when can we do this again?
Oh yeah, they're interesting people to work with. I think the higher ups, it just all comes back down to good old boy network.
Yeah.
The higher ups aren't a big fan of us.
Yeah. Look, and
It just goes back to that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter because our audience and everybody that watches us, like I said, they understand what's going on. They know when we're genuine.
yeah.
They know we're not trying to shove some bullshit product down their
Yeah.
throat. So it's kind of like, I'm like, you know what? This fucking thing sucks.
Yeah.
I will say it.
And you have.
And
I remember
I've
you
done some
cut.
dumb
Yeah, I remember you cut ties with a couple of we're not gonna name them out of respect, but I remember you telling me, he's like, no, I'm not working with them. They sold me this shit. It broke, and I'm like, I can't show this to my audience.
terrible, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so you have that, and then tell me a little bit about Googan Ranch.
Yeah, Googan Ranch. That's interesting. So Googan Ranch is not like, I read a comment today that actually goes, it was last night, it infuriated me. They're like, this is a money grab. This is nothing more than a money grab.
Well, explain Googan Ranch first, and then tell me.
It's like it's 4,000 acres, and it's somewhere for someone to come out and learn how to hunt.
Okay.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Or you can just be a knowledgeable hunter and go out there and do your thing on yourself. But the big thing is, I had no fucking clue my dad didn't teach me how to hunt growing up, so I had to literally learn hunting
off of YouTube videos.
Yes, off YouTube videos. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Then I had to go out and do it. And the worst part about it was I was actually at the time making videos trying to learn how to hunt, but making a fool out of myself because I didn't really know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Because and then the big thing is finding land to go hunt on.
Yeah.
Like you can go out and kill a deer, but do you know how to clean it?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so this gives people the opportunity to learn how to do everything.
Yeah, I like it because it goes back to the Scott Martin story. When I love fishing, and at the time the only person that I knew that was a fisherman was Scott Martin, and it reminded me of his dad, Roland Martin, which is a legend in fishing. So immediately I'm like, oh, I want to fish with him. I'm like, how much is it? $1,100, I think. I'm throwing that number out there, but it was up there. And I'm like, okay, I have money. I want to fish with this guy. I could go fishing wherever I want.
He knows what he's doing. He's going to teach me something.
He's going to teach me something. Yeah, and well worth it. But more often than none, people aren't going to pay to go hunting or learn from you. They just want to hang out with you for a day and have some fun. Which is, it goes back to the old Halo days or old Call of Duty days where people would pay to be on somebody's friends list because they wanted to.
That's hey, I'm on his friends list.
Yeah, because I'm on his friends list, or I can be friends and essentially do anything that you guys have been concentrated on. Anyway, Rob, one last thing. What's next, man? What can we expect from you and the Googan squad? And can you convince a couple of the guys to come on the podcast?
Dude, I can convince. Yeah, everybody wants to come. Everybody loves Hector. I don't know.
Those are facts.
These are straight facts. I want to take the Googan brand and go super global. Like not just take the blinders off even more and be like, all right, so now we do fishing and we do hunting. Now let's see what else the Googan brand itself can do. Like we're going to be bringing on a shitload of content creators underneath our umbrella and helping them. And helping. That's growing everything as a whole again.
Yeah.
Like starting all over, making it big.
Doing it right. Again, disrupting the fishing industry yet again. Anyway, man, thank you. I don't have anything else on these notes, man. You've kept me engaged for a very long time, and I do like it, man. I'm excited to see what's happening next. I'm excited to work on a couple of things with you. And hopefully, I know I've been here for exactly a year, and haven't gone fishing with you once. And it's all my fault, and I apologize for that. But very soon, as soon as I get rid of a couple of things, or I start doing a couple of things less, I'm going to start making my rounds with you and go fishing. You have any closing comments? You want to shout out anybody? Want to say hello to anybody? Hello, hi.
Hey, no, I'm good. I'm good to go.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much. Remember that the first 500 people to sign up for Skillshare will get a 2-month free trial if you go to skl.sh/eavesdrop. If you want to learn some stuff, we talked a lot about learning on this podcast, so I feel it's fitting. But anyway, Rob, thank you for stopping by, man. We'll see you in the next one. Everybody out there, please remember to subscribe if you are on YouTube, and like the videos and rate them, and do whatever it is that you can to help continue to push this podcast forward. I cannot thank you enough. Again, this podcast is syndicated on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, iTunes, and all the major audio platforms. Okay, so yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll let the music come in, and we'll say a sweet goodbye. See you in the next one.